Welcome. We are thrilled you are joining us for a special sit down with some good friends from Switzerland. We have the father-son team from Gerald Charles here, Franco, the founder, and Frederico, his son. And we're thrilled you're sitting down with Oliver and I today.
Thank you for inviting. It's the first time here in Arizona, and so far I'm loving it.
Yeah. It's not too hot yet. You're here at a perfect time. It's beautiful out. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the history of the brand. It's a new brand to us, new here to the US. Also a little bit what it's like working with family is something we can relate to, and kind of the future of the brand. You know, there's a deep connection to Gerald Genta, which is fascinating, but kind of how that came to be and how you both found yourselves here.
So this is the last brand founded by Gerald Charles Genta himself, who was a good friend of my father. I think it can very well explain his relationship with Gerald Genta and why Gerald Genta chose our family to build this business together.
Do you remember the first time you met?
Yes, of course. I met in 1982. You're not born.
No, just a glisten in the eye.
1982 in Milano. I have a communication agency and I work in the marketing. And Gerald asked me to launch the brand Gerald Genta in Italy. I launched the brand. After I worked with him 2 years, not only in communication, but I worked with the distributor Gerald Genta in Italy, till the moment that I have to change my career. I start to work with AP. But I maintain a good relation with Gerald because we have a lot of passion. That together we have the passion for a good drink, a good cigar, and to enjoy the life.
Yeah.
Create a fusion for me and the passion of Genta. That is very important because for that, when Gerald sell the company and I have to create the new brand, Gerald Charles, that second name of Gerald, call me and says, "Hey, Franco, we work together. It's impossible for me, my friend, but because I was at the but my family, yes." So my brother start to work with Gerald as CEO, and after 2 years, we buy the share of the company, and Gerald stay with us till he passed away in 2011. That is important because all the artists have the period, and we have the opportunity to live and to have the last 10 years of the creativity of Gerald Genta. That is important.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Did you have an interest in watches before, or is that something he helped inspire?
Good question.
Yeah.
I'm a businessman. I born in the marketing. I work in the marketing. I work in the finance. It's clear that after 40 years in the watches, I like the watches.
So that
Honestly, in my life, I buy 3 or 4 watches. But because I was the owner of the company, and every time the watches are 3.
Right. You're in the watch
Step it
world.
up. Yeah.
You got the new stuff too.
But the new age for Gerald Charles, the one Frederico, come to me from London and they says, "May I work in this company?" And I say, "Of course, it's a pleasure for me."
Yeah.
Because I never push him, because the young people have to choose.
you always told me do whatever you like.
Right.
Never mind. I was in London, I studied finance, then I studied computer science, and I was working at Salesforce.
Okay.
I was integration development and so on for business systems and so on. I was loving it. But then I would see myself as the first one who wanted to wear the last design of Gerald Genta. And it was an hidden pearl. Because when my uncle and Gerald were together building the company, they were keeping it for a very small niche of collectors. They were making a lot of bespoke pieces. We had a very high, and we still have, capability in terms of watchmaking. The mechanics were incredible, the movements were astonishing, and the production size was very tiny. No marketing, no promotion, everything direct to consumer, to these direct collectors. And the brand was kind of hidden. And so
What year was this? Like, what was the...
This was from 2000 when the brand was founded, so 24 years ago already.
Right.
Until 2011 when Genta passed away.
Okay.
After he passed, from 2011 until 2018, the brand kept doing bespoke pieces. So we were always active. The brand was always manufacturing, we were operating the after-sales service and so on, but bespoke.
We use some design in Gerald for make special pieces for very important people.
We haven't opened up the bespoke vault yet, but I sense a little bit of uniqueness in the bespoke pieces over the years, probably, huh?
Yes, incredible pieces, incredible pieces. Actually, because you touched the point, the new bracelet, the new integrated mastering that we presented this year at Watches and Wonders, it was a huge success. it is the last integrated bracelet designed by Genta.
Got that.
But when he designed it in 2007, it was a bespoke piece, one-off.
Wow.
That's why nobody knew. I have a picture to show you. Maybe we can show also to the audience later on. It was a full pavé, full baguette, integrated bracelet with the asymmetry that you still find here, the curve link and the straight link, which is a signature. And it sold for $1.2 million to a Malaysian customer.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah. So about a month ago, we went over to Geneva for the Watches and Wonders, a fantastic trip. Elizabeth, George, and I went, and we had a great time. Actually, one of the first events that we went to was the opening of your new office in Geneva. And we had a great reception there. We went through their museum, looked at a lot of sketches and things like that. But we really had a great trip, and reconnected with some people at the company who had worked for other firms that we'd worked with, like Carla, who we really enjoyed reconnecting with. But part of it was the history, and Elizabeth had a thought on a question about the case and why you went with this style out of all your bespoke that you probably had to look at from that standpoint. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you presented to us this year in Geneva, why you presented it, and the history behind the design of the case.
Absolutely. First of all, it was great having you visiting in Geneva in the new atelier. You were, in the next 10 years, you can say you were among the first 5 to 10 people coming.
And it was this big, and then it will be this big, and but it was great.
They had a nice clock on the wall, but I couldn't get it off the wall.
Yeah, downstairs.
We're still working on it.
Yeah.
So talking about the design, the Maestro Case, it was an obvious decision for us to go for this. We have hundreds of sketches. But this is his last design that he made. And this case is inspired from Baroque architecture. It's pretty unique. And you can find here a smile.
Yeah, that's George's favorite part. That's always what he leaves. So he's talking about it, smiles back at you.
It's so amazing. It's the Mile of Genta. And in this particular sketch that was a tourbillon, you had even the mustache. The tourbillon bridge was shaped like the mustache. So a lot of fun again.
Really having fun.
In this case for us was the obvious thing because it's so versatile. The design is so unique, it's like nothing else ever, so different from all these other designs, but at the same time, the balance between the rubber strap and the Baroque case creates a very good tension between the sportivity and the elegance of the piece. So what we wanted to achieve was the best sporty, elegant watch. On that, we developed novelties, complications. And in here, for example, I can show you some of the novelties that came. The gem set pieces, for example, this is a beautiful iteration of the skeletonized watch, ultra thin, with 66 baguette cut.
Your gem setting is fantastic. I mean, we later saw this when we were at Watches and Wonders, and it was, I think, the best gem set that we saw. It's really well done. It's really beautiful. I mean, once you see, you know, maybe some aftermarket gem sets out in the world, kind of like we do, then you appreciate something really good. No, it is fantastic. It's really beautiful. And just a fun little, it's just enough. It's not too much, you know? It's just enough.
It's still, if you know, it's still understatement.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do all those angles with baguettes.
So
all
difficult.
Those curves and all
we
that.
cut them in Geneva, it's so difficult.
It has to be
perfect. Yeah, we partner for this with Salanitro in Geneva, which is partially owned by Patek Philippe. So you can easily understand where the quality comes from of our partners.
Fantastic.
We've also introduced in Geneva something that was maybe the protagonist of the fair, according to what many people in press said, which is the Masterlink, which I brought here today, still smelling Swiss hair, directly from Geneva, from the fair. And this is the first integrated bracelet that Gerald Charles ever releases in its 24-year history.
And we were talking about how the links match each side, right? So you still have the smile going through at the bottom, but straight at the top. I mean, if you follow any of our stuff, you know how passionate you are about bracelets. So we love a bracelet watch.
Then you need to tell me what you think about that.
No, I've been fighting for bracelets for a long time for the watches. And I think that, you know, it's much more difficult to make a bracelet than people giving you credit for in the watch business. we made a few bracelets ourselves in precious metal for watches that we couldn't get bracelets from the manufacturer for. And it takes a lot of work to make a bracelet that tapers down so every link's a little bit different. The finishes on here, we sent Ben to Switzerland, our watchmaker, a year ago or 2 years ago, and all he did was polishing. Now, he doesn't need to go anywhere to learn anything, but when you see the finishes on the bracelets particularly, I mean, the watches, the heads of the watches, it's very difficult to finish a head like this with the curvature to it too, from that standpoint. And to be able to do that takes a lot of thought from a polisher. Like, how am I going to get in there? How am I going to hit that spot? How am I going to make that look right the way it is? I grew up in a woodworking family, and my brother, who was a woodworker, would make a lot of jigs to make things work a little bit better and to be more consistent with it and to create a quicker conversion from one to the next from that standpoint. So I have a great appreciation for it. You know, there's a trick between too thick and too thin. There's a trick between too wide. We've seen bracelets that haven't been tapered and they just haven't been really well received. So the taper we like a lot. The two-tone from the standpoint of polished versus matte is very important, you know, to be able to do that. I'm sure you worked on it a few different ways. And
Hundreds of trials, you can't imagine the years for
a
that.
lot of different ways, the way that the buckle releases and comes back together and how easy that is to put on.
That's actually our patent, so we have no pushers. We have resolved the problem of having pushers coming off.
Yeah.
And we use the last 4 links as pushable.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's really well done because that's very, very intricate. You can hardly see these little exposed pushers, you know, because they're really well done. So no, I was a fan of it as soon as I saw it because I've really been pushing for some of my other brands to do some bracelets, and I think that's very important. And I think that you will see that the bracelet eclipses a lot of your other straps because people want the bracelet from that standpoint. Takes a different head, yes or no, to put the bracelet on? Or?
Yes, absolutely.
So it can only be with this particular...
Absolutely. So to avoid the eclipsing of the other models, which is something we don't want because every model is beautiful on its own, the master link is not the maestro.
Yeah.
So this watch has a different name, it's the master link, because it's the maestro with links, master links.
Sure.
We have a different caliber, which is not compatible with the others, which has a micro rotor. It's our newest caliber that was released. And then we have a different size, which is 38 times 38, while here we're 39 times 41. So that's slightly rectangular and that's squared. So everything in those watches is completely different, but the feeling is very similar. So this was the objective.
That's got to drive you crazy. I mean, you're talking about 1 millimeter difference between this and that, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I can't imagine. It's tough.
What's next? Can you tell us anything? I mean, we know there's a lot in the archive.
A lot of work. Next is a lot of work. You won't be bothered. Yes, absolutely.
About the next,
Yeah.
we are 2 things very important that we work about that. Complication, history of Gerald Genta. That means the complication, all the complication, and lady watches.
Ah, yes. Specific ladies' pieces, smaller sizes.
Even if those pieces work very well with the ladies, I have to say.
Yeah. No, I like it. Fantastic.
It's giving you a little bit of
Fantastic.
a view underneath the tent there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
little bit of a view.
Only thing you would maybe need is just a little bit of the strap fits me fine, maybe a smaller strap, you know, but besides that. Well, we appreciate you coming all this way to visit with us, so thank you. And I even learned some new things today, so I think it was really insightful. To check out more Gerald Charles, head to our website. We've got our pieces there. You can also visit our stores in Scottsdale, Aspen as well. Make sure to follow us for more interesting videos like this. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and basically all the socials.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming all this way. We greatly appreciate it. We're happy to have you and welcome you to the Oliver Smith family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.